Long ago, in the reddish villages of West Africa where the sun painted the sky gold at dawn and the moon lit the evenings with its silver glow, there lived two young men, Obu and Agba. They were not brothers by blood, but they grew up side by side like tendrils curling around the same stick. Their huts stood so close that when one sneezed, the other could hear it. Their mothers had pounded fufu together in the same mortar, their fathers had wrestled in the village square together, and the elders often said that the bond between Obu and Agba was like the bond between twins. Yet, though they shared a childhood, they did not share the same spirit. Obu was clever, so clever that he could weave words like cloth and twist situations to favor him. He was quick with ideas, quick with lies, and quicker still to laugh when others fell into his traps. Agba, on the other hand, was humble, slow to speak, and gentle in nature. He had the kind of heart that gave away his last calabash of palm wine if someone else was thirsty. They spent their days farming side by side in the cassava fields and hunting small animals in the forest. But as the seasons turned, Obu's cleverness began to sour into trickery, while Agba's humility blossomed into quiet wisdom. One hot afternoon, as they rested under a baobab tree after working the soil, Obu turned to his friend and said, "Agba, my brother, why do you work so hard when the world is full of easy ways? Look at the chiefs, they sit under shade, they eat the fattest goats, they do not sweat like us." Agba chuckled. "Obu, you know as well as I do that chiefs eat because their fathers ate before them, and because they serve the people in council. For us, our work is our crown. If we do not sweat, how shall we eat?" But Obu only smiled slyly and said, "There are other ways, my brother. You just have not opened your eyes." One evening, the two friends went to a wedding feast. The drums beat like thunder, the women's wrappers flashed with color, and the air was heavy with the sweet smell of roasting goat meat. Calabashes of palm wine were passed around, and laughter filled the air. Obu's eyes gleamed as he watched the wine flowing freely. He whispered to Agba, "My friend, why should we always depend on others for drink? Let us go into the forest tomorrow and find our own palm trees. I know a way to tap them that will bring us plenty." Agba agreed, for he trusted his friend. The next day, they went deep into the forest. They found tall palm trees rising like giants into the sky. Obu showed Agba how to cut and fit the calabashes under the trees to catch the dripping sap. "Now listen," Obu said slyly. "We must share the work. Each morning, one of us will come to collect the sap, and each evening, we will drink together. But since I taught you, I must drink the first share." Agba, who never argued, nodded in agreement. For the first few days, Obu collected the sap in the morning and shared it in the evening. But on the fourth day, when it was Agba's turn to collect, Obu rose before dawn, went quietly to the forest, and drained the calabashes dry. Then he returned home, pretending to be asleep. When Agba went later to fetch the sap, he found nothing. Confused, he came back and told Obu, "Brother, perhaps the tree has gone dry." But Obu laughed loudly. "You must not know the secret of tapping. I told you the tree would not yield if you did not greet it with the right words." So it went for many days. Each time Agba's turn came, Obu sneaked ahead and took everything, leaving only drops for Agba to find. Soon, Agba began to suspect. So one morning, instead of going to the farm, he hid behind the tall elephant grass and watched. And there, before the rooster had crowed, he saw Obu climbing the tree, emptying the calabashes, and drinking until his chin was wet with wine. Agba shook his head sadly. "So this is the cleverness of my brother," he whispered. Seasons changed. The rains came, and the fields grew fat with yams. Obu and Agba had planted side by side, but when the time came to harvest, Obu hatched another plan. He said, "Agba, you know yams grow hidden underground. When we dig them, who can say which is big and which is small? Let us divide the farm in a clever way. Each of us shall take turns digging one mound. But to make it fair, I will choose first." Agba agreed, though he noticed Obu's eyes glinting with mischief. When they began digging, Obu always chose the mounds where the yam vines were thick and the soil cracked with promise. And indeed, each time he uncovered huge, fat yams, while Agba's mounds yielded only small ones. Agba walked silently, his back bent, sweat pouring down his body. But Obu laughed and mocked him, saying, "See, my friend, cleverness is better than strength. While you sweat for nothing, I fill my barn with giants." When they finished, Obu's barn overflowed, while Agba's was barely half full. But though Agba had less, he shared his food with neighbors, with widows, and with children who were hungry. Obu, on the other hand, guarded his barn fiercely. He even quarreled with his own mother when she asked for extra yam to make porridge. "Mother," he said sharply, "if you want yam, go to Agba. He likes to give away what little he has. But mine is mine." His mother shook her head in sorrow. "Obu, a barn full of yams can vanish in one night if the spirits are angry." Obu laughed. "Let the spirits try. I am too clever for them." One dry season, when the harmattan winds blew dust over the village and cracked the lips of children, a traveler came from afar. He was an old man with a staff, his hair as white as cotton, and his eyes deep as a river at night. The elders welcomed him, as was custom, and asked him to stay. The old man said, "I have come with a test, for I have wandered many lands and seen the hearts of men. In this village, I wish to see who is truly wise, who is truly humble, and who is truly greedy." The elders were curious. "What is this test?" they asked. The old man smiled. "Tomorrow, bring your 2 strongest young men to the square. I shall give them a task, and from the way they perform it, the spirits shall speak." The next morning, the entire village gathered. Of course, the chosen young men were Obu and Agba, for everyone knew of their closeness, and also of their differences. The old man placed before them 2 calabashes covered with cloth. He said, "Each of you shall take 1 calabash to the forest. Do not open it until you are far from the village. Whatever you find inside, use it well, and return after 7 days." Obu's eyes shone with excitement. He imagined treasures of gold, beads, or magic charms that could make him rich. Agba bowed his head respectfully and accepted his calabash without question. As soon as they entered the forest, Obu could not wait. He tore off the cloth and opened his calabash. To his delight, it was filled with glittering cowries and shining beads. "Oh! My luck has come at last," he cried, hugging the calabash. Agba, walking quietly beside him, did not open his calabash. Obu laughed. "Why do you wait? Open yours, let us see what fortune the spirits have given you." But Agba shook his head. The old man said to use it well. "I will wait until the spirits guide me." Obu scoffed. "You are too simple. I will use mine now." That very night, Obu traded some cowries for roasted meat, for wine, for fine cloth. He sang loudly, boasting that he was now richer than all. In the village, he shared nothing with anyone, saying, "When my barn was full, they begged. Now let them beg again, I will not give." Meanwhile, Agba carried his calabash home but kept it closed. He placed it quietly in his hut and went on with his farming, helping others as before. On the 7th day, the old man returned and asked them to bring their calabashes. Obu came strutting proudly, his cloth fine, his belly full, his calabash half empty. "See," he said, "the spirits have blessed me with riches. I am clever, and I have used them for myself." Agba came forward humbly with his calabash still sealed. The old man nodded. "Open it now, before all the people." When Agba lifted the cloth, the calabash was empty. A gasp went through the crowd. But the old man raised his staff and spoke. This calabash was a test of patience and humility. To the one who waited, it would yield blessings unseen. To the one who rushed, it would reveal his greed. At that moment, the ground shook, and a swarm of termites rushed into Obiu's barn. Before his very eyes, his fat yams crumbled into dust. His cowries turned into dry shells, his beads into pebbles. Agba's empty calabash, however, began to glow with light. From it poured seeds of yam, millet, and maize, more than enough to plant the whole village. The people shouted with joy. Agba! Agba is blessed. Obiu fell to his knees, weeping. Why have the spirits punished me? The old man looked at him kindly but firmly. Because greed devours itself. You sought to trick your friend, but you only tricked yourself. Humility feeds, while selfishness starves. From that day, Agba became a symbol of humility in the village. He shared his seeds with everyone, and the harvest that year was plentiful beyond measure. No child went hungry, no widow wept for food, no traveler left without eating. Obiu, stripped of his riches, was left to beg from the very hands he had once mocked. Though Agba still fed him, he never regained the respect of the village. And so, the elders told the tale to every child by the fireside. Greed is a fire that burns its own house. Humility is water that fills every pot. Be like Agba, and you will be remembered with blessings. Be like Obiu, and your name will be spoken with pity.